Oh my gosh, people are so super excited. You know why? There's a brand new iPhone coming this September. Now, if Apple keeps up with the numbering system, it's going to be, well, we're at the iPhone 12, so it'll be the iPhone 13. And word on the street is that people won't buy it because, well, it's the 13th iPhone, being superstitious and all. But you shouldn't be superstitious about the iPhone 13 because why? Well, that'll bring you bad luck. Yes. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, just an example of the fun that we have here week after week as we talk about living the best digital life ever. We talk about making money, saving money, how to build that online business, what type of gadget or gizmo that you need to get the job done. And the list goes on and on. And of course, we always throw in a healthy dose of security and privacy tips. It's called the Kim Komando Show because, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again. That's right. Yeah. Hey, listen, you can find the Kim Komando Show on 420 top radio stations throughout the United States, streaming in your favorite radio app, or streaming anytime you want to watch or actually get the podcast over at getkim.com. And you can also find us on American Forces Network Radio. Get this, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries. And I love this, 200 ships at sea gets the Kim Komando Show. And I'm sure you have at least a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And let me tell you, I trust T-Mobile's network to keep me covered. And all right, let's get this party started with 5 things that you need to know about tech that's happening right now. And here's a story that you may not have heard about in the mainstream media, because there are these things called international laws, agreements between various countries on who owns what and resources and trades and that sort of thing. But how does international laws apply to cyberspace and countries hacking other countries, right? Well, according to a Washington Post report, international legal experts are now in the beginning stages of this 5-year project to basically decide what's okay as far as cyber conflict and what's totally out of bounds. It's called the Talon Manual of the International Law of Applicable to Cyber Operations. Wow, sounds like a page turner, doesn't it? Anyway, it's backed by NATO. It's more of a set of guidelines than actually rules. It's not legally binding. It's also the 3rd version that was last updated in 2017. That's a really long time in cyberland. So just think of everything that's changed. We have Russian interference, state-backed hackers involving other countries. We have China, Iran, and North Korea. Then, of course, don't forget all these companies that are getting in ransomware. So it's supposed to take into account that we're going to have some clear boundaries. For example, infrastructures like pipelines, water systems, electrical grids, they would be off limits. It still doesn't address the problem of actually being able to prove like what country did what. I mean, they can always just say, nah, that wasn't us. It was the other hackers who left in a hurry. They must have ransomware. Okay. All right. Number 2, is it just a little hot in here or is it me? Texas was unprepared for this year's record cold winter and seems like they're not ready for summer's heat either. So now that state and a few others, they want customers to enroll your smart thermostats, your Nest, in a program to help reduce power consumption. Here's how it works. If you buy a Nest or other smart thermostat from companies like Residio, you may be asked to enroll in your state's energy saving program. Okay, that sounds great. I'd like to save some energy. Well, in Texas, many who did got this rude awakening. During heavy power usage, certain power companies sent out a signal to the Nest thermostats declaring something that they called an energy rush hour. It commanded the thermostat to raise the home's temperature. And as you can imagine, it gave quite a few customers got them a little hot under the collar about the takeover, and they're really just livid. Okay, we all want to help, but we really need to know what our smart devices are truly capable of. I mean, maybe we don't all want to read the fine print. But if you think having your thermostat cranked up to 80 degrees, just remember, it could always get worse. You could go stand in a corner where it's constantly 90 degrees. All right, number 3, an app that is not really an upstanding citizen. Yeah, maybe you've heard about the phone app called Citizen. In about 20 cities across the country, it sends real-time, hyper-local alerts about what's happening near you. Crime, traffic, you name it. But last month, a big wildfire broke out in LA, and citizens were quick to point out information about the suspect, photo, a $30,000 reward leading to his arrest. Problem is, well, they didn't get this from official sources. They put together a manhunt, and it was actually for the wrong guy. Then about a week ago, another major alert to LA residents. Could you imagine getting this? A push notification on your phone or your tablet that said a plane had crashed into a terminal at LAX. Well, there was no plane crash. Early in the day, the airport tweeted to be hosting a live training exercise about a simulated plane crash. Citizen didn't get the memo. They thought it was real. Whoopsies, right? So you can't be trusting that Citizen app. Number 4, an Uber lesson in surveillance. Listen to this if you are thinking about getting into an Uber and Lyft. You know, the rideshare drivers, they haven't been making a lot of money since the whole pandemic hit, right? But now a company says, oh, we have a way for you to make some real money if you're an Uber or Lyft driver. It's called Alphi, and they just announced that it's giving 10,000 tablets with AI-powered cameras to those drivers that can recognize demographics of passengers. So let's say a 30-year-old woman or a 75-year-old man gets in the back of an Uber or Lyft. The tablet in front of them would then curate personalized content and ads based on that information. Not just age and gender, but where you're located, what you're wearing. Is that a Hermes bag on the seat? Are those Maui Jim's sunglasses? Yeah, see, the AI can figure all that out. So you're going to start seeing some ads for the same brand or similar or some other things. They even say that the cameras can take like facial cues like, oh gosh, what was that? And I'm not interested. That's too expensive. A single passenger, just one, engages, that's the phrase that they use, with the content. Drivers could get a cut of up to $350. Wow, that's a lot. And according to Alfie, hundreds of Lyft and Uber drivers in the Miami area have already installed these tablets. But don't worry, the company with facial recognition technology that tracks your expressions says that it will totally respect your privacy and it won't use any identifiable personal information. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to believe that. All right, number 5. Oh, a tale about AirPods that's just very difficult to swallow. Apple sold a bunch of AirPods during Prime Day, and with that in mind, along with the fact that Apple's expected to release some new AirPods probably later this year, a reminder, you have to be careful. You see, these AirPods are really small, and they could pose a choking hazard, but not just for kids. This guy, Brad, as he found out a few months ago. In Massachusetts, you might remember this past February, they had these massive snowstorms. Well, Brad wore himself out shoveling snow. So he came inside, turned on Netflix, popped in his AirPods, and he was so tired he fell asleep. The next morning, he got up and he went back to shoveling, but he didn't feel right. Something was wrong. He had this like pain in his throat and his chest. So he went inside and he couldn't even have a drink of water. Well, he went to the emergency room. He had an x-ray and turns out that an AirPod was stuck in his throat that he had apparently swallowed while he was sleeping. So doctors performed a quick procedure. They removed the AirPod. It was successful. He's fine. As far as the AirPod, he says it still works, but the mic is just a little glitchy. So consider this a cautionary tale, right? Falling asleep with your AirPods. And just remember, those big clunky Bose headphones, noise-canceling headphones, that ain't going to happen with that. And then in a little bit, we have our security tip. We're going to be talking about the most popular browsers. What are they really tracking about you and how can you turn off that tracking? And of course, we have all of your fantastic phone calls here on this coast-to-coast broadcast of the Kim Komando Show. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. And hey, listen, if you ever have a question about something digital I can lend a hand to, of course, I always love to hear from you here on the show. But you can always send me an email. That's super easy to do. At the bottom of every single page over at Komando.com, there's a link that says Contact Us. And how about we start this hour with Gary in beautiful Maui, Hawaii. Hello there, Gary. Aloha.
Aloha, Kim. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now, you're my friend, Gary, right?
Yep, that's me.
Well, we have to explain to everybody that you owned the waterfront restaurant on Maui, right? Fabulous restaurant. And then,
for 23 years.
It was really, really very good. And then you went to...
You came in for dinner. I listened to you every day going to work on the radio.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I would go to work and tell them what you talked about, and everybody knew you as the digital goddess. And then somebody came up to me at the door and said, Gary, you won't believe who's having dinner here tonight. It's the digital goddess. You got to come see her.
It was very sweet. It was very sweet. And, my son Ian loves... he still has it on his Instagram account, the picture of him and Robin Williams.
Yeah, that was another restaurant that I managed, and you guys were in for dinner, and he wanted to go over and meet him and get his picture taken with him. And Robin was very nice and cordial to everybody who came over to the table.
He was. So thank you for calling me, and thank you for your friendship over the years. How can I help you? What's going on?
Well, my mom recently passed away.
I'm sorry.
And I'm struggling with, I got a great scanner. It's a fast photo.
Oh, yeah. It's the Epson Fast Photo. Yes.
It's really a great scanner. But the problem is I didn't realize my mom was the oldest of 5 sisters, and her mom was the oldest of 4 sisters. And so my mom has I'm up to 4,300 photos I've scanned so far.
Wow.
And I'm only halfway done through the boxes, and I want to share them with the rest of the family. When we go back, we can't do the celebration of life here on Maui because of the pandemic stuff and the rules and quarantine and all that. So I'm going to take everything back with me to Ohio, and we're going to have it there in August.
Nice.
The celebration of life. And I need a way. I've got the raw pictures at 1200 DPI, but the size of the files are getting so big, none of the photo stick programs are big enough to hold it.
Well, I don't know. Wait, let's talk for just a second about that, because 1200 DPI, that might be overload. Okay. I mean, if you're only going to show them on the screen, 150, 300 DPI is more than sufficient. If you want to print them, maybe 600. So you might want to think about lowering the resolution on some of them, and just maybe the really great ones put at 1200 because they really wanted a high quality print. They could do that, or maybe you put the high quality files someplace else, because you're right. I mean, it's just going to get over the top as far as storage. And then keep in mind, too, that one of the really great things you can do is put them up in a Google Photos album. So you're not doing it on a photo stick or anything, or on a thumb drive. Mm-hmm. And then this way, the whole family can have access to the photos. And then when you go back to Ohio, you're not carrying around all these thumb drives and stuff. And then you can just, you can share it, you can print some, and at that point, if you want to make a thumb drive for folks who aren't just that, computer savvy, is that you can do that as well.
And that's called Google Photo Album?
Yeah, just Google Photos. Go to photos.google.com and you can set up an account. Okay. And then
I can transfer them there.
Yeah, exactly. So when you scan them in, you can upload them you can say just scan them directly into Google Photos. There's an option for that too, so it doesn't even need to stop at your computer. But if you wanted to stop at your computer, it's always a good idea just to have, some backup. So what kind of problems are you running into other than that?
Trying to, I need to get rid of all the duplicates.
Yeah.
There's a lot of duplicates in there, and the photo stick was getting rid of the duplicates, but they're just too small for the resolution, and I don't want to rescan them all. I've got weeks of scanning time.
I know. I don't want you to have to redo that at all. Not at all. There's a program called, let me see, it's called Duplicate Photos Fixer Pro. That's what it's called. And then there's another one called VisiPix, and I'll email you links to both of these and see which one that you like better. A lot of people have been talking about the Duplicate Photos Fixer Pro, but I haven't used that one, but I've used VisiPix. And what's nice is that it will go through the whole hard drive and then show you, these are the same pictures that we see time and time again, and these all look the same. We all look the same, but which ones do you really want to get rid of? And that's nice because you can actually see the photos right in front of you. So, Gary, thank you so much for your call, and best wishes. And next time I see you on Maui, I can't wait to give you a big hug, and I will send you a link to all of these photo programs so that this way you can take a look at it. Because, having duplicate photos is really a major nightmare. We actually have a whole tip on it over on the site as well. And Gary, once again, thanks for your call. Stay right where you are. Our security tip is moments away. All right, a couple of things I want to pass along before we go back to all of our great phone calls is that over at Komando.com, we have a list of the apps that you need to remove from your phone right now. Because you just don't need them, like Cam Scanner for iOS and Android. It's been around for a while. They actually busted it, these cybersecurity researchers, for secretly installing malware on users' phones. So if you have Cam Scanner on your phone, I want you to get rid of it. Astro Guru, Astrology, Horoscope, and Palmistry. That's right. Predicting the future here, it has over 10 million downloads, but it doesn't lock down any user data. Shame. There are also QR scanning apps that you don't need because your phone does it already. You just take your phone up to a QR code on the camera. And the same goes for any type of flashlight apps. They're just redundant. Sometimes they're dangerous. And once again, over at Komando.com, we have a whole list of apps that you need to remove from your phone right now. And also on the website, we had put together a list of home inventory apps. One's called Sortly. It's available for both iPhones and Androids. The free version comes with everything that you need for basic inventory, up to 200 items. And then you can also store unlimited items, sync them with Evernote if you want. There's also My Stuff. It's pretty, no features, but it does allow you to sort your items into rooms and collections. There's Nest Egg. And again, we have a whole list on the website, including the best inventory apps for unlimited uploads, estate planning, and the best to document items for insurance. Again, that's over at Komando.com. There was an app for counting sheep, but it was pulled. Apparently, it just put everybody to sleep. Terry in Birmingham, Alabama. Hello there, Terry.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, Terry. Thanks for your call today. What's going on?
Well, let me say first that it's really a thrill to get to speak to you, and I need your help.
Okay.
I have an RV we recently purchased, and we're getting ready for a long trip with my sister and brother-in-law to the west. And while I'm gone, I want to be able to pay bills and make reservations and hopefully have some level of security. And I don't know where to begin. The more I study, the dumber I get. So I'm turning to you for help.
Well, so, that's a long ride. How long are you guys going to be around? I mean, out and about?
Well, we don't really know. At least a month, possibly a month and a half.
Oh, you know what? That'll be so much fun. That'll be great. The reason why I asked, because, some of these solutions are, a couple of $100 to really do it. And so you've got different options. So first of all, just keep in mind that wherever you park, there's probably going to be Wi-Fi, right?
Right.
And so what you're going to want to do is somehow be able to pull that Wi-Fi signal in closer to your RV so that this way you have more bars and more places, so to speak, all right? And because you're on an open network, is that anybody on that network with a packet sniffer can see exactly what you're typing in, your usernames, your passwords. And so you mentioned that you weren't too smart about this, but you're smart enough to know that somebody comes steal your stuff, right? So that's where, so I gotta give you a little bit more credit for that. There are a couple of options. There's a company called WineGuard. It's WINEGARD. They make a lot of antennas for RVs and different options, but they have one in particular. It's about $250. It comes with WPA2 protected access. It has a double firewall. It has DOS prevention, denial of service prevention. And what it does is it gives you, it's a 4G LTE, like hotspot antenna, as well as a Wi-Fi extender with some security options built in. And it's about $250. Then your other option is there's a company by the name of King, and I can send you links to these as well. They have a directional Wi-Fi antenna that comes with a router and also a range extender. So that's really what you're looking for, is an antenna with a router and a range extender. So these all-in-one packages, and that one's about, I think that's like $325. So there are certainly cheaper options that are just Wi-Fi extenders, but if you're looking to add some security options to the whole mix, that's where it is. And some of these devices say that they can support up to 20 different, so some of these packages are the antennas with the routers and the firewalls and stuff, they can support up to 20 users. So if you guys have 4, you'll be fine.
Right. Well, we have 2 separate RVs, but
that's even better. I have to tell you, when you told me, Terry, when you told me that the 4 of you were going in RV, I was thinking, like, that's why I asked, like, how long are you guys going? I mean, it's like...
No, I got it. No, they're in their own. I looked at the WineGuard, and my problem with that is I understand you have to get up on the roof and change the little chip card in the side of it every time you turn it on and off or end your service and renew it. I was a little put off by that.
I don't know if that's the model because I don't remember seeing that in this description on this particular wine guard, but I'll definitely take a look at that, because if you have to get up on the roof and change the SIM card or whatever's they got going on, that's going to be a bit of a nightmare. There are other wine guard antennas that will just allow you to just kind of, position the antenna and move it around, and those are cheaper options. So some of them are, say $75, $150. There's a company by the name of C. Crane. I don't know if you've ever, they've been into the antenna radio business forever. And then there's another company called We Boost. And
I've heard of them.
And those are some pretty good if you don't want to get into the whole firewall, and especially if, I don't want you to go up on the roof every time you need this, because number one, that's just not a place you should be after you've been having a few beers. So we don't want to do that. Okay. So, so let me do this. Let me take a look at We Boost. And also, I want to see what C. Crane's been offering. I haven't looked at their antennas lately. And maybe they've got some new ones, but they've always had some really good options when it comes to getting extended Wi-Fi. And I'll put together a list for you, Terry, and for everybody else, I'll go ahead and post that over at Komando.com inside the Komando community. So if you go to community.komando.com, and then on the left-hand side, there's a whole nav bar. And if you hit Q&A forum, and then where it says show questions, that's where I've been posting a lot of things that I mentioned here on the show. If I ever feel like you guys and gals need like some links, because it's so hard for me to say, go here and do this and get this one and whatever it may be. And so that's the whole purpose of the Q&A forum, is not just for me, but if you ever have any tech questions, you can go ahead and post them there as well. And our IT geniuses, John and Jeremy, and a whole bunch of other folks jump on board and help you out as well. Terry, thank you so much for your call. You're going to have a great time, especially now that I know that you're in 2 RVs, and we'll find one that doesn't make you go on the roof. Ooh, that would be just a bit of a nightmare. And again, thank you for your call. All right, this week we're going to tell you how you can see how much your browser tracks about you and sells your data, and how you can turn it off. And we start with the big one, Google Chrome. Google's known for tracking everything that you do. They can track and store your location history, your web activity, your app activity, where you go. It's just crazy. And if you think you're safe in incognito mode, no, Google will still collect and sell your data. And so they have something called Flock. That's the Federated Learning of Cohorts. I know, it's its own tracker. It says, everybody's going to be anonymous now. Well, you might be part of the trial. I don't believe it. So we're going to tell you how you can opt out of these third-party cookies, not just on Google Chrome, but also I'm going to give you the steps when you go into your privacy settings and look at the 3 lines on Firefox, also on Microsoft Edge, which, by the way, that was recently flagged for sending users IP addresses and location data to Microsoft servers. And also Apple's Safari, and we also head into Brave. Now, Brave is a different type of browser that doesn't store your browsing history, and also DuckDuckGo is another privacy browser. And so if you're sitting there saying, I wonder how I can get more of my life back from the browser that I'm using, look no further than the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show. Head over to KOMANDO.com, and once you're there, hit the link that says Kim Show. Still to come, over 1 billion, that's with a capital B, data breach records exposed. I'm going to tell you how you can check to see if you're on that list. You're on the Kim Komando Show. And if you are trying to expand your knowledge and get more know-how, because knowledge is power, is that wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe you've never even tried a podcast, is that you just fire up your podcast app on Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora. They have all these names, right? Or you can go to komando.com/podcasts, and you can start listening to, say, for example, our daily tech update. And that's something that I put together every single day. It's new and it's fresh. And it's just something that's happening in the world of tech that's newsworthy that you need to know at this given moment. And then there's also Kim Komando Explains, which is obviously what it is that I explain something that I want to know. Like, for example, I wanted to know how Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Warren Buffett pay no federal income taxes. And I know it's not really like computer stuff there, or tech stuff, but how did this happen? How do these tech billionaires not do it, not pay any federal taxes? So I called up an esteemed tax accountant, and we talked the talk for about 30 minutes. And we also talked about tax credits for your home and all these other good things. We also recently did a podcast about cryptocurrency that we go through how you can buy it and you can sell it and how you can mine it. We even have a gentleman on board who gives us the inside scoop on, whether or not it truly is profitable. So again, wherever you get your podcasts, you should be getting Kim Komando Explains. Again, Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Stitcher, komando.com/podcast tuned in. And if you're ever thinking about getting into podcasting, this is an interesting thing, is that we just released a podcast that I did with Valerie Geller. Now, you may not know the name Valerie Geller, but if you're in the broadcast industry, you sure do, because she has trained the best of the best on how to be a professional, how to be in front of a microphone and how to talk in front of a microphone. And so that this way your voice projects and people are interested and your cadence and good things like that. And so she gives a lot of inside scoop about how you can be a successful podcaster based on your audio. So again, you don't want to miss that. Kim Komando Explains wherever you get your podcasts. NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system, is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program for those ready to graduate from QuickBooks to NetSuite today. Head to netsuite.com/Kim right now. That's netsuite.com/Kim. Charles in Monroe, Louisiana. Hi, Charles.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. What's going on?
Not much. They had called and asked about an update on how the cam was working. I told them I hadn't got a ticket yet, so I guess it's working good.
Oh, that's right, because you wanted to get a dash cam for your truck, and
yes,
you were going to school, right?
Yes.
And so I'm glad that you haven't gotten any tickets yet, but that just means that you're following the speed limit signs, Charles.
Well, I'm trying not to get ran over by the people from Texas is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that can happen. Great. Well, thanks for checking in. I'm glad that it's working out for you. It was, Charles, you called here, about a month or so ago, and you were looking for a dash cam. And so I just said, hey, listen, why don't we just go ahead and give you one? And so Charles was a recipient of one of our random acts of kindness. That's right, our random acts of kindness. Charles, thanks for checking in with us. Christian in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Hi there, Christian.
Hi, Kim. How are you today? I'm
good. What's going on?
So I have a question about cryptocurrency, specifically crypto mining.
Okay.
So I'm curious how it works. Is there any risk to me in this situation? I'm not purchasing the equipment. Someone has purchased it and wants to place it in my home because I live in the right neighborhood. You can't see the quote fingers. Because it provides a Wi-Fi network, plus it does crypto mining. So my question is, would you have it in your home?
And so what's the name of this?
Helium.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's talk about how Helium works, okay? Helium is a network that, have you ever looked at Lime scooters? Do you ever see those? The little scooters that
yes.
go? Okay. Is that they have these little chips on the inside. And the way that Lime knows where all these scooters are and how much battery life they're in and all that other good stuff is that people around them are providing the antennas in their apartments or in their homes so that this way all these sensors can talk to each other. And anywhere time that they go down the street is that they're getting the data using a little bit of your internet connection. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Helium is, and you buy the antenna for sometimes, last time I checked, they were $400 or some crazy number like that. And
right.
And when you give out, so you put this in your window, and if somebody is using your Wi-Fi connection in order to have that sensor report back to the mothership, is that you are actually awarded a little bit of a token, okay, of the Helium token. That is, okay. And so it is a little bit of mining, of course, and it gets far more technical than this. I was talking to Jeremy, our IT genius, about this, and at one point I'm like, Jeremy, my eyes are glazing over. Okay, so I'm like, okay. And so he's like, okay, I have to take off my nerd hat and I'll talk to you. I'm like, okay. So when you get a token, right now a Helium token is about $20. Okay. So, okay. And if there are a lot of people in your neighborhood, in your area, you're going to be competing for that mining and that token. So we looked on where they were here in Phoenix. And I said to Jeremy, I said, you know what? Why don't we put one in our window? And let's see what we can get, because we're in a busy street on 7th Street in downtown Phoenix, and I bet you there weren't too many on the map. And then Jeremy told me that a friend of his who lives in a fairly busy area makes about maybe he made like $200 a month or 20 tokens or something like that. So it was like $200. And so it's worth it's. I don't see a lot of security risks with it. But you just have to make sure that you put the antenna in the right place. And you, of course, have your router locked down, your firewall, all that good stuff. And I think it's kind of a fun little experiment.
That's what the moment I realized I knew nothing about it, I thought there's only one person to ask. So thank you, Kim. You did not disappoint.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Christian, when you get it, could you check in with us and let us know how you're doing?
Would love to.
All right, awesome. Because I'd love to hear your feedback and what's going on with you. Hey, stay right where you are. Over 1 billion pharmacy records were exposed. We're going to talk to you more about that here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, let me tell you, hardly a day goes by where your data isn't put at risk, right? And here we go again. There's yet another data breach. Security researchers recently stumbled on a massive collection of customer data for pharmacy giant CVS. That's right. You ready for this? A database containing 1.1 billion records. After a while, you're like, oh my gosh, another data breach. I know it sounds like white noise. Email addresses, device IDs, what was ordered, even what you searched for. The database wasn't password protected. They say even though the customer should be in the clear, look out for phishing emails relating to the attack, spoof messages pretending to be from CVS. And for more about this data leak, head over to Komando.com. And over at the top of the page, there's a link that says Kim Show. Hey, you want to stay right where you are. We have another jam-packed, fun-filled hour of the Kim Komando Show that you definitely never, ever want to miss here on the West Star Multimedia Network. Hey, thanks for watching a past episode of my national radio show. That's why it's called The Kim Komando Show Rewind. Now, to get the entire show, all 3 hours, when it airs live, or you can get on demand, head over to getkim.com and you can become a member of the Komando community. There are a ton of perks. Aside from just the show, you get free ebooks, a place to get answers to your tech questions, and more of me. So come on, what are you waiting for? Click that link right now and become a member. And thank you.